Ladies and gentlemen, please, would you bring your attention to me for a show that is the best rom-com? Feel free to accept it. Like nothing you ever seen before. Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, Season 5. 5 seasons. One of the greatest rom-coms to ever exist. One of the best motherfucking rom-coms of all time. The greatest rom-com to ever exist on the face of the planet Earth. The greatest rom-com. Better than Old High School Host Club. Better than Nisakoi. Better than Kaguya-sama Love is War. Better than any other rom-com you all name. Ladies and gentlemen, please, would you bring your attention to me for a rom-com that is the GOAT. The motherfucking GOAT. That is Rent-A-Girlfriend. Rent-A-Girlfriend is back, ladies and gentlemen. This is an evening day to talk about it. I was really looking forward to it during my work days at Uniqlo. I said to myself, I was going to talk about this show. I literally dive into the world of this show. I live, sleep, breathe, kill for that show. And Sumi is my best girl. Sumi is my best girl. Sumi is my best girl. Rent-A-Girlfriend has transcended the ways of how we look at rom-coms. The best rom-com to ever exist on the planet. And I swear, I am not rage baiting. I am not lying. I am not saying it just to rage bait everybody. Rent-A-Girlfriend is the GOAT of rom-coms. 5 seasons. 5 seasons. There's no rom-com that could ever top 5 seasons. You see, this is why I love Rent-A-Girlfriend. Every rom-com ends about 1 or 2 seasons. 2 seasons at the most. And then we ask ourselves, are we ever going to get another season? Hell, Rent-A-Girlfriend get a 5th season, and everyone else got a season 1, and we ask ourselves when we're going to get a season 2. Shows like No Game, No Life, which I want another season. Shows like High School the Dead, my favorite show of all time. This rom-com got 5 freaking seasons before any other rom-com don't even get the 4 or 5, or even 3. That's how good Rent-A-Girlfriend is. And for all out there is trash, don't, if you talk about it, you know how they say one person trash is another man's treasure? Well, Rent-A-Girlfriend got a lot of pop-ups and a lot of freaking merch. I mean, have you seen this playmat? Have you seen my artistic stance? I got a bunny figure dedicated to Sumi Sakurasara. I got a wall scroll on this side here that says Sumi Sakurasara. That's how best girl she is. Now, this is the continuation of season 5, the Hawaii trip arc. For those of you who've been living under a rock, this is where the peak of Rent-A-Girlfriend is, where you got Ruka, Chizuru, and Mami-chan all in the Hawaii arc. There's so much drama in this arc. There are so many plethora of things that's going to happen. The conclusions, the moments that's going to like, oh my God, it will shock us all. Shocker than Raise Zero, by the way. Which, by the way, Rent-A-Girlfriend's better than Raise Zero this season. But that's here or there. Anyway, we're talking about Rent-A-Girlfriend, the best rom-com that is ongoing with 420 chapters, and is still to this day the greatest rom-com of all time. I will say that for years. I even got freaking volumes, both Ian and JP. That's how serious a Rent-A-Girlfriend fan I am. So, without further ado, let's get right to it with season 5, baby. Season 5, episode 1 of Rent-A-Freaking-Girlfriend. Now, season 1, 2, 3, 4 has been an incredible run. Both development. Every girl in this series has developed. Sumi, Chizuru, Mami, Ruka, Mini. Everywhere you go, there's been development after development after development. And Kazuya, look, we all know what Kazuya is. Kazuya may have some faults. I'm going to keep saying it over and over again. I respect Kazuya. Kazuya is not an F-boy. Kazuya is one of those guys who has some faults. but he always find ways to make things right. Especially the last season with his grandma, especially like the season with his grandma, and then Chizu's grandma. There's been so much going on in life of Rent a Girlfriend. Now, season 4 was the Hawaii trip arc. We all know the Hawaii trip arc is the biggest arc in Rent a Girlfriend history. It is one of the biggest arcs because this arc tells you a lot, where it's gonna be so much heat in this episode, and in this season, and we haven't. Especially that last scene with the cliffhanger where Mami-chan wanted to rent it out Chizu. Now, this is where we get a little testy. Let's be honest with ourselves as Rent a Girlfriend fans. Mami-chan. I have Mami-chan as my least favorite girl of this show. Of this entire series, she's my least favorite. Sumi Sakurasara is 1. Chizuru is 2. Mini is 3. Ruka is 4. I had Ruka at 3 at one time, but after that chapters with that scene, which they censored it off, and if you read the uncensored version, you know why. But again, Ruka is 4th, and then Mami-chan is 5. The first half of this season talks about Mami-chan. How Mami-chan became who she is. How Mami-chan became what she is today. Now, I'm a sucker for one of those like, I forgive you type vibe. I actually forgive you. But for me to forgive you, you gotta show me why you're like this. You gotta show me why you deserve a second chance. Mommy's backstory was not really a second chance for me, but for Mami-chan haters like myself, that was kind of like a slap in the face. Pun intended. Okay, so let's talk about this. The first half was Mami-chan. How Mami-chan became who she is. Just your regular boring, normal life. Mami-chan had a normal life. Brother, mother, and a strict father. Which, by the way, it's like Mami-chan's father is the real antagonist of the Rent a Girlfriend series, if you think about it. So, Mami-chan, her life has been really good until she met a boy, Taru. Just a random boy, and they started hooking up. Okay. She goes behind her parents' backs and, going out with this boy. Okay. Secretly, they've been secretly dating. They started hooking up, and then 3 weeks later started dating, and go behind his parents' back, ended up like, and then she was found out she was pregnant because you can see the symbolism. She was holding her belly. So all that time, she was having a wonderful time with this boy. Nothing could go wrong except this. The father was so strict on Mami-chan. It was so like she was locked in a cage. Mami-chan was so locked in a cage. Like, Mami-chan was like a caged bird. She doesn't have her own free will. She doesn't have her own freedom of like making her choice. Her father was so strict to a point where it's like every time, and Mami-chan's backstory as a child up till now was the same thing. Because with Mami-chan, it was like every time Mami-chan does something wrong, the father would yell at the mother. It was kind of like one of those like, I'm disappointed in you. You made Mami-chan do this. Now, here's the thing. And then, before I get that, hold on. And then all of a sudden, her heart gets broken. Father told him to remarry. Father put Mami-chan in the situation where lose the baby, you get an arranged marriage, and not only that, dump that boy. You're dumping that boy. So it's like, damn. And then that slap that the father did to Mami-chan, it was like, look. There are some slaps in anime that I can accept. Like a wake-up call slap. There are slaps that are funny. There are slaps that are serious. There are slaps in anime that make you say, oh my god, he or she deserved that, in a good way. But the slap that Mami-chan's father did was an insult. Was like, I told, like, you don't listen to me, you better listen to me, that kind of thing. And it was one of those, like, do what I told you to do, what I tell you to do. That was that. That was that. And then all of a sudden, Mami Chan's dad's friend told her, like, oh, you the guy? Okay, here, take the money and leave. Break up with her. And that was the catalyst of everything. You see Mami Chan's crying from a text that the boy Tartar was there. He's like, I met someone. Let's break up. That broke Mami Chan's heart. See, Mami Chan this is why she doesn't like trust issues, the love, those kind of things. That's why Mami Chan is like that. She sees how the power and money, how men are, can change a person and whatnot, to a point where Mami Chan saw Kazuya and she feels that Kazuya is the same way, to a point where she broke up with Kazuya. That's that. So now you see the picture. Now, here's the thing, though. With Mami Chan, look. Do I feel bad for Mami Chan at this point? We're talking about from this point. Not from among us. We're talking about this point now. Ladies and gentlemen, I kind of want to forgive Mami Chan at this point. I mean, this is why, look, Mami Chan may not be my least favorite girl, but I kind of feel bad for her at this point. I do feel bad. Damn, do I have my heart set for Mami Chan? No, my heart set is Sumi. But again, Mami Chan's story explains the entire trait as to why she is what she is now. Now, as for Ruka-chan and Kazuya's friend, for back in season 1, it's strange to see that. I mean, like, he just looking out for Ruka. The conversation they had was just basically looking out for Ruka, and Ruka realized that pretty much like, sorry I used you, but my heart said for Kazuya. Like, she's still trying to point that out. And look, in recent chapters, Ruka just can't let go. Now, with Chizu and Mami Chan, this is where the female rivalry comes. And I think Chizu and Mami Chan is like top 5 female rivalries. Their rivalry goes way back from season 1 up till now. Their rivalry goes off the wall. And for Mami Chan to just toy with Chizuru is just so cunning. It's so cunning. And this is what I'm talking about. You can hate Mami Chan, but you have to admit that what she is doing is very cunning. It's like, for an antagonistic female like her, it's like, you take Mami. I know people are saying, if Mami Chan wasn't exist, then we would have had a still good renter. I believe that if Mami Chan was away from the series, and then we had Chizuru, Mini, Sumi, and Ruka, then we will still have a good rent-a-girlfriend. Me personally, because Ruka and Chizuru in this love triangle with Kazuya is still in effect. So I can see that. But Mami Chan is like, adding Mami Chan to the mix is like adding a little bit of sugar and you make it sweeter. Then that's what she is. So Mami Chan rented Chizuru just to talk about, like, hey, did your grandmother know about your fake relationship? Did you, in the ring, you've put in all these fake lies, these fake emotions towards Kazuya's family. You lied to your grandmother before she died. You didn't tell her the truth. There were so many things that Mami Chan was telling Chizuru off the wall, to a point where Chizuru broke down and said, I know that. It's up to Kazuya's. Kazuya's lies is what keeping us going. Kazuya is one of those guys who doesn't want to break people's hearts and trust. That's why they've been lying, because Kazuya does not want to break everybody's love and smile. That's the thing about Kazuya. I can't hate this guy. I really can't. Now, on the flip side, let me tell you this. The opening. I'm glad they did this. I love the opening. Every opening of Rent-a-Girlfriend has been so freaking good. The opening we got was for the Hawaiian trip arc. I like it because, they kind of did this on purpose, because the ending showed Mini and Sumi together, and I get it because they're not in this arc. But interesting about this opening Hawaii trip arc is because there was a pop-up shop in Japan. There was a rent-a-girlfriend pop-up shop with all five of them in their Hawaiian outfit. And I do have a Sumi Sakurasara Hawaiian pop-up artistic stand that's with all my Sumi collections. But yeah, that's what that is. But again, I do like the opening. It is fantastic. It shows you more what we're gonna expect from this season onward. I mean, that Chizu pose when she's underneath the whole it's gonna be so chaotic this season. This is gonna be one of those peak things that's gonna happen. I swear to everything. Look, I know we are on season 5 of Rent a Girlfriend, but it gotta be said. This show needs to be nominated for Best Romance. Chizu needs to be nominated for Best Main Character. And I hate look, Sumi for Best Antagonist or Supporter. You gotta get that. Oh, well, not Supporter. I kind of feel like, but again, for a show like this, getting 5 seasons, 5 freaking seasons, and with an opening like that, and the Hawaiian trip arc on a stand ring, it's downright good. It is damn well good. To a point where I've said it once and I'll say it again. And I'll say it at Anime YC. I'll say it at Council Point. I'll say it at Anime Expo. I'll say it at work. I'll say it to every anime convention. And to all you YouTubers out there, I'm going to say this once and I'm going to say it again. Rent a Girlfriend is the GOAT of rom-coms. And for all out there say it's trash, you can't call it trash when it got 5 seasons, so you can't see me. But yeah, but overall though, season 5, episode 1 kicked off with a bang. I mean, with a great opening with Mami-chan's backstory, and it questions us: do we like Mami-chan or not? And the backstory is, and me personally, as a Rent a Girlfriend fan, and looking at that from rewatching it. After rereading it and rewatching Mami-chan's backstory, it's safe to say that, this is why Mami-chan is who she is. Now, do I forgive her? Not really. But I understand why she's doing all of this. And if you break it down bit by bit, the antagonist is actually Mami-chan's father, who literally control her life. So you gotta blame the father for that one. I mean, yeah, he's worse father than Shao Tucker. And I'm not, and that's true. But I look forward for next week's episode, ladies and gentlemen. This was a good evening to talk about Rent a Girlfriend. I cannot wait for next week's episode. And tomorrow I'm covering that gal anime, the 2 gals, with the otaku. I can't wait to cover that as well. So thank you for watching.